Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good whatever the time of the day is where you are right now. This is Security Officer Reacts, and today we're just going to go through something that's been troubling me for a while. Obviously, I've been watching a lot of social media auditors, a lot of videos where there's coming up, well, whether it's a social media auditor or it's a member of the public, they come up against a security officer who is not displaying their SIA badge. And on a few occasions when police arrive and are dealing with the situation, then the social media auditors or the members of the public make it clear to the officers that guy over there is a security officer and he's not displaying his SIA badge. And that is a criminal offence under the Private Security Act 2001, punishable by an unlimited fine and 5 years in prison. And most of the time, the police, they just don't do anything about it. You know, they don't acknowledge it. They don't turn around and say anything to the person. They don't warn them. They don't advise them. They don't even arrest them. I've never seen it happen. Never. So the question is, what is the point of having a law or a criminal offence that the police do not enforce, or from what I've seen, no evidence of police enforcing? It's like, does anybody actually get arrested? Does anyone actually get charged? Or is it just completely pointless law that police do not go after at all? Because, like I said, I've seen enough videos to prove that the police don't even have a word with the security officer. They don't even say to him, where's your badge? You know it should be on display. Or anything like that. They don't do anything. They do not say anything. They do not get involved whatsoever. So, is it a pointless law? Does it hold any weight at all? Well, we're going to have a little look now and see what we have here. So I'll put in here, is it an offence to not display your SIA licence? Okay, it's there in black and white. Yes, it is a criminal offence not to display your SIA licence while working, with penalties including fines of up to £10,000 in Scotland, an unlimited amount in England and Wales, or imprisonment. Not displaying a licence is a breach of licence conditions, which can lead to the SIA issuing a written warning, revoking or suspending your licence. So basically, it looks like it's only really enforceable by the SIA. The police do not get involved. You can turn around and say it's a criminal offence, but they do not care. They're not interested. Penalties. Prosecution. A criminal offence under Section 9 of the Private Security Industry Act 2001. Fines can range from up to £5,000 in Northern Ireland and an unlimited fine in England and Wales. Imprisonment. A term not exceeding 6 months is possible. SIA action. Your licence could be suspended or revoked. Rules for displaying your licence. You must wear the licence so that it's clearly visible to the public at all times while on duty. The original licence must be displayed, not a photocopy. Exceptions apply if you've reported the licence as stolen or lost, or if you're working undercover. Now, obviously, this doesn't apply to anybody that's exempt from the SIA. These are obviously in-house security officers that are employed directly by the company that they're working at, not a private contractor security company that obviously subcontract them to work there. If you work directly for the company and you've got the your payslip says you work directly for that company, you're regulated by that company as security and do not need to follow the SIA guidelines with wearing a badge. But that's not what we're talking about. We are literally talking about SIA licensed officers that are not displaying their badge, and it's like, does anything happen? Does this law actually hold any weight? So moving over to the SIA website, here it is. Right, so investigations of SIA licence holders not showing their licence. 1. Request. Could you please let me know, does the failure to display an SIA licence constitute a criminal offence under Section 9 of the Public Security Industry Act 2001? How many complaints has the SIA received regarding contravention of licence conditions? How many complaints related to failure to display a badge? How many complaints for any reason resulted in actual investigation? How many SIA licence holders have had licences revoked or suspended as a consequence of an investigation? How many licence holders has the SIA prosecuted to date as a consequence contravention of licence conditions. So there's a lot to go through. Obviously, I'm not going to read all of this out because we'll be here all day. But it says, I can confirm that the SIA does hold some of this information. Some parts of this response will constitute a refusal to deal with your request for the reasons set out below. The SIA does not run a complaint scheme against security operatives or security companies. The SIA receives intelligence reports about crimes or concerns from members of the public or from partner agencies. You can read more about this at this form here. To reflect this, we have changed your question 2 to 4 to accurately reflect the data we can provide. Okay, right. So does the failure to the SIA licence constitute a criminal offence under Section 9? Yes, we have. We've already covered that. Obviously, it's only not applicable if it has been reported lost or stolen. It is in possession of the SIA. The work the licence holder is doing requires that they're not identified as a licensed operative. Usually you get that with close protection officers and certain other security related officers. Obviously, if they're doing undercover work, you don't want to have a badge on display, do you? How many intelligence reports has the SI received? So you can only provide information between 2017 and 2023 to date, 30th November 2023. Since the 1st of January 2017, the SIA has received 3,864 intelligence reports in respect of contravention of licence conditions under an offence under Section 9 PSIA. I can probably guarantee that most of those are as a result from social media auditor videos on YouTube. People in the comments have probably, figured out the security company and probably gone directly to the SIA, or they know the security officer and stuff like that. Or again, it's just members of the public that know about the rules around SIA licensed badge holders. How many intelligence reports for any reason resulted in an actual investigation? So this is where somebody has made a complaint to the SIA, either by making a statement or probably adding video or photo evidence to back up their claim, and they've probably said that there's enough information here to actually warrant an investigation, even more so if they can identify the security officer or the company the officer works for. So between January 2017 and to date 30th of November 2023, so this is actually out of date. They don't update very often. 459 criminal investigations. This figure includes closed cases, those currently under investigation, those that are in the prosecution process, and secondary investigations. So this is outdated figures now, so there's probably more since then. So let's have a look. The year, number of official warnings being issued. So this is just warnings, this isn't prosecutions, this is just warnings. In 2017, 58, 2018, 106, 2019, 417, 2020, 122, 2021, 53, 2022, 54, 2023, 108. So it kind of goes up, but then it goes down, then it goes up again. So I'm interested to know what 2024 and 2025 is on that. This is kind of going through the same thing again. How many SIA licence holders have had their licences revoked or suspended as a consequence of the investigation? So obviously they've had a warning. This one's gone over, gone past the warning, and they've had their badge completely removed. Number of convictions for Section 9 offences: 2017 2, 2018 2, 2019 2, 2020 2, 2021 1, 2022 0, 2023 4. So that's really not a lot at all. I mean, it seems that they get a lot of people get a warning first by the SIA if they're found foul of an investigation, but there's literally sod all here that actually get their license taken away. So it's quite interesting, really. So again, like I'm saying, as opposed to somebody that shoplifts, refuses to pay their taxes, assault somebody that could probably carry a fine, custodial sentence, or an actual kind of criminal offence where you're found guilty and criminalised. It really does seem that this offence really doesn't hold any weight whatsoever. You really do have to go above and beyond to get convicted on this. Now, back in 2005, I think it was, I did the doors in 2005, and there was one nightclub that I was working at, and it's the only time that I can confirm where there were SIA compliance officers escorted with police officers that turned up to the club, and basically went through every bouncer, doorman, door supervisor on shift to go through their licence to make sure they were licensed. Luckily enough, everyone was licensed and no further action was taken. I've never ever seen any SIA compliance officers since that date. Especially not with police officers and attendants ready to arrest and take somebody away. So it really does seem like they're not taking this seriously, or the police just aren't interested in this at all. Now, even back then, I heard that the way they used to do things, if they had a doorman in the club that either wasn't licensed, he was waiting for his licence to come through, he was waiting to do his actual SIA course and all that sort of thing, and he was literally working illegally without an SIA badge. They were literally told that if SIA compliance officers and police turned up, literally throw your radio over the side, take your tie off, go into the dance floor and start dancing. You know, and then at the end of the shift, when the club's all shut down, we'll then write you in on the register as being on duty, start and finish. So that's how they would get away with it. That's how they would get around it. They were literally like, if somebody wasn't licensed and they would have them in, they wouldn't sign them in until the end of the night when the whole place had been shut down. If a police officer turned up or the SIA compliance officers turned up, they would literally just throw their radio aside, take their tie off and just start dancing as a member of the crowd. Because as far as their books were concerned, they weren't there working. And that's how they used to get around it. Obviously, it's a little bit more difficult for frontline security officers that are sitting in a gatehouse, because, well, how are you going to get around that one? You can't really escape that one, can you? If you're sitting there in a gatehouse and you're high vis with security, you haven't got your SIA badge on you, and compliant officers turn up, well, yeah, you can't exactly take your high vis off and run off, can you? So, yeah, a little bit different. However, like I said, I've never seen any compliance officers since 2005. So I don't even think they even come out and do these investigations anymore. It really does look like all they're interested in now is taking your money once every 3 years. It used to be a case of if you had your badge, all you had to do is renew your badge every 3 years. But they realised that they can get more money out of people if they keep doing refresher courses. Even though you've done this course time and time again every 3 years, you know the course inside out, you know every fucking question, they charge extra for you to do the course. They just want the money. That's all they're interested in. That's all the SIA is interested in, is the money. They really don't seem to have any interest in following the legislation that they've set. They don't seem to have any interest in prosecuting anyone. At the end, like I said, they'll send out warnings, but that's literally it. This is really low for the amount of officers that have actually had their badge removed through some kind of criminality. I mean, this doesn't necessarily mean that they weren't showing their badge on display. They could have been, these could have been other instances that they'd done wrong. They could have had a criminal record for something that showed up and they had their badge removed because they didn't announce it. They could have been caught stealing on site. It doesn't. These offences here don't necessarily mean that they weren't wearing their badge. That's why they got their badge removed. It could have been anything. But even so, with the amount of videos I'm seeing on, with social media auditors, where they're not clearly on display, they've been made aware that they're not on display to the police. Police aren't interested. Don't do nothing. If they complain to the SIA, they're probably just going to get a warning. So this law, the Private Security Industry Act of 2001, doesn't really seem like it's worth the paper it's printed on. The consequences for not wearing a badge just don't seem to be worth the paper it's printed on. Now again, if you are a manager in a security company and you hire somebody that doesn't have an SIA badge and you don't put them through the course to get their badge, or if you hire them unbadged and you put them straight to work, and the SIA find out about it, they will probably chase after the company, find them, and because again, money, isn't it? They'll find the company, they'll find the manager, because you're basically hiring somebody that's not licensed to work in the company. So that's the only time I can probably see them actually doing anything, is when they intentionally hire someone that's not licensed and put them straight to work without a badge. But besides that, this law really is pointless. It really is. Nobody seems to do anything about it. Nobody enforces it. Even the SIA don't seem to enforce it anymore. Not really. Not recently. But yeah, you go. I just thought there'd be a bit of a different video to my usual videos for today. You know, so what are your thoughts about this? Do you agree with this? Do you think that they should be a little bit more strict on it? Do you think the police should act on it? Yeah, put your thoughts down in the comments. I say, if you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to give me a like and a subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.